Hey everybody, welcome to my channel. Thank you so much for stopping by. I hope you're doing well. Well, I'm outside enjoying the gorgeous fall weather. It's actually quite warm. It's about 80 degrees and I'm loving every minute of it. I live in Virginia and I would say fall and spring are my favorite seasons around here. If you've been following me here on YouTube, you know that I don't like winter very much. But anyway, I thought I would enjoy the last few days of warm temperatures because I know it's going to get cold. And I'm so glad you joined me because we're going to be making another beautiful piece using the beads from Didi's Deluxe Bead Box for the month of September. And it's actually more than just one piece, it's actually two necklaces. One is very simple though, it's just a pendant on a chain, and the other one's a little bit more involved, but not that much. But anyway, I love to come out here, and I especially love to come out here and film because I feel like myself. When I'm in the studio, I feel kind of awkward, to be quite honest. And I think it's because I have the studio lights on me, and I have to sit in a certain place, and I don't know, it just feels really awkward. But out here, I feel like I can be myself, and it feels really good. Now you may hear a little bit of noise in the background because Arlington, Virginia is a very busy place, and so you may hear emergency vehicles, you may hear trucks, you may hear cars, jets, you know, you name it. But anyway guys, like I was saying, I'd love to come out here and I'd love to bring you with me. Now I'm not going to turn the camera around because we have leaves everywhere. The leaves have been dropping like crazy, and so the backyard's a bit of a mess, but maybe when we get things cleaned up I'll show you. I did want to talk a little bit about the last bracelet that I made. It was a charm bracelet using the GGC treasure bag, and it was very silly of me to categorize it as quick and easy because it really wasn't quick and easy. It was quick and easy for me to actually publish the video, but to actually make that bracelet took quite a long time. So I apologize for that. But you know, like I keep saying, it's my way of pushing more content out to you. If I can get rid of the introduction and the outro at the end, my videos end up being a little bit shorter and I can push them out a lot quicker. And like I keep saying guys, I'm not taking anything away from this channel. I'm still going to talk to you face to face just like I'm doing right now. I'm just adding a little bit more content, that's all I'm doing. So anyway guys, if you're not familiar with Didi's Deluxe Bead Box, I'll leave some information down below along with a link to the website and a coupon code if you're interested. And don't forget that I always list all the materials down below along with timestamps in case you want to skip forward to any portion of the video. And also please stick around till the end because I'm going to model the necklaces for you. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and get started. And here we have Didi's Deluxe Bead Box for the month of September 2023. The name of this box is Encanto. Stella asked her little granddaughter to name the box, and she did after her favorite Disney musical film. I thought that was such a cute idea. The box was filled with all kinds of gorgeous colors, as you can see. Lots of sizes and shapes of beads to choose from. And if you haven't seen the unboxing video, I'll link it down below in the description section of this video. I'll also leave a link to the website in case you want to check it out. Now I did make a bracelet not too long ago, and if you haven't seen that video, I'll link it down below as well. So let me show you the materials we're going to be using today. Here are the beads we're going to be using. Now these two down here are two Jasper beads. We're going to use those to make a pair of earrings later on. And this one here is from the designer strand that came in the box. Let me show you. And I think this bead measures 16 millimeters across and 4 millimeters thick. I think it's adorable. We have some crystal teardrop beads here. They've named the color Magical Mix. Let me show you. Aren't these beautiful? I love all the colors. These measure 10 by 3 millimeters in size. And here we have some rondelles. They're electroplated crystal rondelles and the color is wine. And these measure 6 by 4 millimeters. And here we have some faceted cubes. These measure 6 millimeters and the color is Montana blue. And these strands are actually smaller than they were originally. I've been using them for different projects. Let me bring out the metals now. Here are the metals. These two items came from the box, and these two came from my own stash. These are called twisted tubes. And I think they measure about 25 millimeters long. The box came with 10, but we're only going to use 5 of them. And I think these two bead caps measure 5 millimeters, something like that. They were part of the designer strand. These are called Bumpy spacer beads. They're pretty small. They only measure about 4.5 millimeters. And this is a TierraCast ring. It measures about 9 millimeters across. I really love this one. It's so beautiful. And I would have used the gold one, but I didn't have gold. But I think the copper is going to work out just fine. I like to have different colored metals sometimes, depending on the beads. In addition to these items, we're going to be using some other things like a lobster clasp, jump rings, beading wire, crimp tubes, and some end caps, some ball head pins, and a small piece of wire. And I think that's about it. But anyway, I'll pull those out later on when we get ready to use them. So now that we've gone over the materials, let's go ahead and get started. Here are the beads for the first necklace. And believe it or not, I actually had to redesign this necklace a couple of times. I always try to make my necklaces before I make the tutorial just to make sure that it works. The first necklace I made had a pendant, but the one that I designed initially was about 18 inches long. And I had these tubes right by the pendant at the bottom of the necklace, and they just didn't sit right. So I had to change the design a little bit, and we are going to make a pendant, but it's going to be hung on chain instead. But anyway, let me show you what I had in mind. I'm going to use one of my rods to create a bead pattern. I'm actually going to start with this bead here. This is the teardrop shaped bead. And now a rondelle, and then a cube, and another rondelle, and another teardrop shaped bead. If you'll notice, I place the wider part of the teardrop shaped bead up against the rondelles and the skinny part pointing away, but you can do it any way you want. So that's my bead pattern. We're going to load 6 of these and 5 of these tubes, and I am going to add a little bit of chain at the top, so by the time I add the chain, the clasp, the jump rings and everything, the necklace will be about 18 inches long. That's something you're going to have to decide on your own. So now let me get some beading wire. We're going to be using Beadalon, and don't you love it when they put the label right across where the measurements are, or the diameter? But anyway, the diameter of this beading wire is 0.015 of an inch, or 0.38 millimeters, and it's 49 strand, and it's in a gold color, as you can see. I've cut myself a 20-inch piece. Now today I'm going to be squashing the crimp tube. I'm not going to be doing the fold over method, which is the traditional way to do it. Instead, I'm going to squash the crimp tube and hide it inside an end cap. But if you're doing the traditional crimping method, you should give yourself 2 extra inches at each end of your beading wire. So for example, if you're making a 20-inch necklace, you'll need 24 inches of beading wire. Let me place this clip at the end. You can use a bead stopper if you want to. And now I'm simply going to load the beads. Let me just load these and then I'll show you what it looks like. So that's what it looks like. I think it looks really nice. And now I'm going to load a bumpy spacer bead and one of these twisted tubes and another bumpy spacer bead. I think it looks super cute. It really does. And now I'm going to repeat the same bead pattern. So I'm going in through the skinny end of the teardrop. This is what we have so far. And now another twisted tube, but I'm going to put a bumpy spacer on first. And then a twisted tube. And another bumpy spacer. And that's basically it, guys. I'm just going to repeat the same bead pattern until I get the length that I want. Okay, as you can see, I've loaded the beads and now I'm ready to crimp it off. I'm going to use some Beadalon crimp tubes, and these are size number 2. I think they're the best crimp tubes on the market. One of the things I like about them is that they don't crack. Some of the cheaper ones out there do crack if you squash them too much, but these definitely don't. I have 2 end caps here. Now these are a little bit different than what I've used in the past. You may have seen me use ones with 2 loops. These are actually a little bit more secure. And the reason is that that loop is pretty thick and it's not going to slide through the gap of a jump ring. So that's what I recommend that you use. The other ones have loops that are really thin And if you don't close your jump rings really well, or if you don't use good jump rings, they do have a tendency to slide out through the gap. So let me go ahead and show you how to do this. It's very easy. I'm going in through the bottom of this end cap, just like that. And now I'm going to pick up a crimp tube. I'm going to use my pliers to flatten it. Normally I use chain nose pliers, but I can't find them for some reason today. I don't know where they are. But anyway, I'm grabbing the crimp tube, and now I'm simply going to squash it. Now you don't want to squash it too much because you don't want to break the crimp tube, but it's very unlikely that these will break. And I usually do both sides like this. And now I'm simply going to cut off the end, slide my end cap up, and test it. You should always test it. And it's on there really good, guys. I know some of you are worried about it, but you really shouldn't be because this method is very secure. And now I'm simply going to close it. Let me use these pliers. As you can see, it's nicely closed. Now before I close this loop, I'm going to get some chain. Here are 2 little pieces. Each one measures about 3/4 of an inch. And the reason I'm using these is because I didn't want to have the twist tube by the clasp on the back of my neck. So let me show you how to do this. The first thing I want to do is bend this backward a little bit. Like that. And now using some round nose pliers, I'm going to grab this piece of metal somewhere around here, and I'm simply going to loop it. Now I'm not going to close it all the way because I need to insert the chain. So let me do that now. So there it is. And now I'm going to go ahead and close it using my pliers again. You want to make sure you close it really well. And that's all there is to it. Pretty easy. So now let me slide the beads down. Make sure there are no spaces in between the beads. But you also want to make sure that it's nice and fluid. You don't want it too stiff. So once again, I'm going to slide one of these end caps on. Actually, I'm going to open it up a little bit. And I just found my chain nose pliers. And the reason I'm opening it up is because it's going to be a little bit more challenging to do this end. You do have to be careful though, because the end cap will break if you bend it too much. So now I'm going in from the bottom. And let me slide a tube on, a crimp tube. Bring it down. There it is. I'm going to grab that crimp tube with my pliers. And now I'm going to go ahead and squash it. Let me do this side. And now let me test it. It's on there really well. And now let me snip off the excess. And now let me close up this cover. And I'm going to kink this piece of metal back a little bit. Grab it with my round nose pliers. And loop it. And before I close it, let me insert the chain. And now I'm going to go ahead and close it. And there it is. It looks really nice. Here's my lobster clasp and 2 6mm jump rings. Let me open up this jump ring. Attach the lobster clasp. Attach it to the chain. And close it up. And now let me open up this jump ring. Whoops. And attach it to this end. So this necklace is done. Very easy to make. It's a very simple design. Once in a while I feel like doing something easy. But it actually looks really nice on. You'll see once I put it on. I'm not going to do it just yet because we're going to make another necklace. So let me get the materials for that. Here are the materials for this necklace. As you can see, I have some chain over here. I think this piece measures about 20 inches, but I may change my mind about the length. I'll have to wait and see. And I think the links measure 3 by 5 millimeters. I have another clasp here and 2 jump rings. They measure 6 millimeters in size. And these are the materials we're going to use for the pendant. I have 3 ball head pins. They're pretty thin gauge. I believe they're about 22 gauge, something like that. And I have a piece of 20 gauge wire. This piece measures about 3.5 inches long, but I'm probably not going to need that much. And I also have 3 little jump rings here. They're about 4 millimeters in size. So let me show you what we're going to do. I'm going to load one of these teardrop shaped beads onto my ball head pin like this. And now I'm going to grab the pin with my round nose pliers, kink it, switch to this part of the pliers, take the tail and wrap it around the nose, flip the pliers around, continue to wrap to the back. And now I'm going to create a wrap loop and I'm going to grab the wire with these skinny pliers. I'm going to grab the tail with these other pliers and do a couple of wraps. Snip off the excess using flush cutters. And now I need to tuck that little end in. You don't want any sharp ends sticking out. So that's one little dangle. Let me do the same thing with these 2. So here are my 3 little dangles, and now I'm going to connect them to this ring. Let me open up a jump ring. Let me connect one of these. And now I'm going to slide the ring on. And close up the jump ring. So that's what we have so far. And now let me open up this other jump ring. These are so small. They might even be a little bit smaller than 4 millimeters. And now I'm going to connect this next dangle. And now I have to figure out where to connect it. And I think I'm going to connect it to the loop of this dangle. Like this. Let me close it up. So that's what we have so far. Let me open up this jump ring. Let me slide on this dangle. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to connect it to the loop of this other dangle. Just like that. So this is what we have. I think it's really cute. So now let me show you what we're going to do with these beads. I'm going to grab the end and I'm going to give myself a pretty large loop. So I'm grabbing it at about 1/2 inch down, maybe a little bit more. Using my round nose pliers, I'm going to come in here And I'm going to slide it all the way down to the fat part of my pliers. You want to make sure it's flush. And now I'm simply going to loop it. Making sure I close that loop, just like that. I'm going to slide on this Bumpy spacer bead. And then this Rondelle. And now a bead cap. And this flower bead. And the other bead cap. And this cube. So that's what we have so far. So now I'm going to form a simple loop at this end. I'm going to grab the wire right where the bead is. Line up the bottom loop. Kink it. Snip off the excess, and this loop doesn't have to be as big. It can be smaller. Grab it with my round nose pliers. Make sure it's flush and loop it. Let me open it up. Slide on the ring and close it up. So there's my pendant. So now we just need to slide it onto the chain. And that's why I needed the loop to be nice and big. And it actually doesn't slide on that easily, but I think it's going to be okay. So there it is. Now we just need to attach the clasp. I'm going to open up this jump ring. Attach it to the end of the chain and close it up. Let me open up this jump ring. Attach the clasp. And then attach the other end of the chain and close it up. And that's all there is to it. Very, very easy. It doesn't get any easier than that. Let me get the other necklace. I know you can't see the whole thing, but I'm going to arrange everything on my board in a few moments once we finish the earrings, and you'll see the whole thing. Let me get the materials for the earrings. Here are the materials for the earrings. As you can see, I've already made one. And I also made 3 little dangles, the same ones that we used for the pendant. I did place a jump ring on one of them. It's the 4mm jump ring, as you can see. And these 2 bead caps are from my own stash. I think they measure 6mm across, something like that. Here's an ear wire hook. If you follow my channel, you'll know that I only use steel ear wire hooks because they're hypoallergenic for most people. So let me show you how to assemble it. I'm going to kink my wire at about 3/8 of an inch down. Grab it with my round nose pliers. Make sure it's flush. Create a loop. And now I'm going to load this cube. And now a bead cap. And the Jasper bead. And the other bead cap. Grab the wire with my flat nose pliers. Kink it. And this loop's going to be a little bit bigger, so I'm going to cut it at about 1/2 inch down. Let me grab it with my round nose pliers. Create a loop. Make sure the loop is nice and centered and closed. And now I'm going to open it up. And I'm going to slide on this dangle, the one without the jump ring. And now the one with the jump ring. That one goes in the middle. And now this other one. Close up the loop. I'm going to open up this one now. Slide the ear wire hook into it and close it up. And that's all there is to it, very simple. So now let me get the other two necklaces and I'll arrange everything on my board. So here's the entire set. I think it looks super cute, it really does. I hope you like it as well. And I know you can't see the whole thing. Let me slide my board up so you can see the pendant. There's the pendant. And now let me slide it down. There's the top of both necklaces. So anyway guys, I hope you like this tutorial. I really like the idea of having two separate necklaces so you can wear one or the other or both. And each one of these looks really cute by itself. I'd like to go ahead and put these pieces on and show you what it looks like. So I'll see you in a few moments. Wasn't that a lovely necklace set? I really like it. So anyway guys, hope I've inspired you. I hope you can make your own necklaces. Thank you so much for watching. I'm looking forward to seeing you again. Have a great day and I'll see you next time. Bye.